Following my previous video, I received quite a number of controversial responses of anger, disappointment, anguish, etc. And I really wish I could be more comforting to you guys, but friends, it is what it is. So maybe the more discreet thing to do is to ask, is it possible to substitute for crude oil as a raw material in some of the industries? The answer is yes. It's actually possible to substitute crude oil as a raw material in a number of industries, but of course the degree of substitutability differs from one industry to another. For example, substituting for crude oil in the energy industry is totally different from substituting for crude oil in the synthetic industry. So the logical thing to do is to attack one industry at a time. So today, let's talk about plastics. Crude oil and the plastic industry. Is it possible to do away with this? Well, to start with, you could always substitute for plastic itself. I mean, you could always choose a wooden chair over a plastic chair. You could choose metallic cutlery over plastic cutlery, and the story goes on and on and on. But let's not forget why we like plastic. Plastic is easy to work with, plastic is malleable, plastic is cheap, plastic is flexible, plastic is portable, plastic is plastic. So the question is it possible to still have plastic but without crude oil as a raw material? The answer is yes. Just stay tuned. So let me introduce you to a new term, bioplastic. What is bioplastic? As the word goes, bioplastic, this is plastic from biomaterial. So you might want to know, how come you don't know about bioplastic? Is it a new concept? Actually not. Bioplastic has been here for quite some time. But the only thing is the cost of production of bioplastic is quite high, which makes it not very economically viable. Unless, of course, that industry is extremely subsidized and the conventional plastics, those are the plastics from the petroleum industry, are extremely taxed, making this other plastic, the bioplastics, commercially viable. Advantage of bioplastic industry, of course, it doesn't emit as much carbon dioxide as the fossil fuel industry does. But let's not forget, everything always comes at a cost. So a more recent study showed that it's actually possible to get more commercially viable plastic. This kind of plastic, however, is obtained from food crops like maize, wheat, sugarcane, etc. As we all know, maize, wheat, sugarcane are food crops. These are things that are actually used by human beings. So the question is, do we have enough food to supply both the bioplastic industry and also supply food for human beings to survive? I don't think so. That would lead to an influx in food prices, which you and I don't want. So the more logical thing to do would be to increase food production. Do we have enough arable land to contribute to this industry? I don't think so. So we would have to resort to creating more arable land. That in a way means cutting down on a few forests. Not as green as we expect. But then you also need to put in mind that trees take in more carbon dioxide than crops do. That in a way is disturbing the ecological system. Just because this is bioplastic doesn't exactly guarantee that it is biodegradable. Actually, some of this plastic takes longer to decompose in comparison to normal plastic. There's also a problem of eutrophication and acidification. I know the terms sound so complex, so you might want to check them out on Google. But for eutrophication, it means there's an increase in the nutrients in the water, which leads to algal blooms, death of aquatic animals, etc. With this advantage of helping us reduce on the reliance on the fossil fuel industry, it clearly has a dark side that we might also not want to associate ourselves with. So the question is, which do you prefer, conventional plastic or bioplastic? What one prefers really is dependent on what one considers as a bigger environmental impact. As I conclude this matter, I really think there are more sustainable ways to deal with this petroleum industry. It probably calls for totally new invention. I mean, petroleum was only once discovered. Probably there is a totally new invention that awaits you to discover. So next week, what would you like us to talk about? The energy industry, synthetic hair, synthetic rubber, whatever it is, just tell us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See ya!